Hey everyone, Blaze here, welcome back to another anime pickups video. This is a Discotek Media Blu-ray haul. This is one of what will eventually be many, because I haven't done a proper Discotek haul for ages, other than a Lupin update, which I did like a year ago. I have just as much Lupin stuff I haven't shown since that update. The same amount from that video, basically. And then I have a ton of stuff that isn't Lupin related, because Discotek have just been killing it for the last few years, and I have done a little bit trying to catch up on their older releases, not as much as I wished I'd done, honestly. Still, it's just a lot of stuff. It's quite hard to actually keep up with Discotek stuff, because there's all this old stuff I want to get that I really should have kept up with as and when it was releasing, and it's really hard to put money aside for that stuff when every month they're putting out more stuff than I can possibly afford that I want. So yeah, it's just a bit of a mess so far. But anyway, none of that's important. What's important is the stuff I have here. So I have 3 really awesome franchises that are very close to my heart, especially the latter 2, although I love the first one as well. So let's get into it, shall we? So obviously I used to own this entire series on DVD from ADV Films, but Discotek licensed it, and they're putting it out on Blu-ray, albeit slowly, because the Japanese Blu-rays are still coming out year on year. So, but yeah, obviously I've been picking up City Hunter. So we have City Hunter Season 1, Set 1, the first 26 episodes of the first series. I'm not a huge fan of this slipcover. I think it's way too busy for like the first volume. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, I know this series is about Ryo Cyber and like him helping out all his female clients for XYZ, basically gun for hire, mystery solver, etc, etc, bodyguard, really. And yeah, that is what the show is about in many ways, but I don't know, this is just a very weird first cover. I would put this on an inside wrap and had this, even though it's pretty plain and boring. I may have had that, and maybe have like Kaori as well as like the first volume slipcover, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just like the second this was shown for the first time, I was like, that's just a bit weird for the first volume, but whatever. The Blu-ray itself, it's an interesting case. Sunrise are really weird when it comes to putting shows out on Blu-ray, classic anime on Blu-ray in Japan. They seem to have this policy where if a show's 35mm or OVA or whatever it is, if it was shot on 35mm, we will put it out with film grain intact. If it's shot on 16mm, it's basically a toss-up, where it's like, we'll either completely just get rid of all film grain entirely, like they did for Gundam 79 and Dirty Pair. So yeah, by the way, that Right Stuff Blu-ray Kickstarter thing, the first series which they're putting out, will be completely scrubbed of all film grain, unless Right Stuff get a different version, which I highly doubt. Right Stuff aren't in there. Don't tend to do any extra legwork like that. So yeah, or anyway, whatever. Or in the case of City Hunter here, they've basically scrubbed out half of the film grain, if you will. It's clearly been DNR'd, but not completely, thank God. So I would prefer to still have all that film grain, if I'm honest. It does slightly affect the picture, but these Blu-rays are absolutely monumentally better than the ADV Films DVDs. I mean, the ADV Films DVDs were great, because that was all we had, but they were like the original transfers for City Hunter. And here's City Hunter Season 1, Set 2. This would have made a better first cover as well. Just the rest of the covers are kind of in this vein, and this looks way nicer, frankly. But anyway, yeah, so this completes the original series for 51 episodes. Obviously, this is all subtitled in Japanese, well, in English, obviously, with Japanese audio. And yeah, we've also got that's kind of what I was thinking. Ryo and Kaori on the front cover, that's what should have been the first volume. Anyway, I don't need to keep going on about that, that's not important. I was talking about how the ADV Films DVDs, they were the original DVDs, maybe, that also came out in Japan, that may have been based basically on Laserdisc, like analog type masters, whatever, however you want to put it. And then there was a remastered DVD in Japan, which obviously never came out over here, and then obviously they did a Blu-ray, which is now coming out. So this is like 2 steps above what the ADV version is, and obviously it's a hell of a lot more than that, really, because it's a proper Blu-ray from the film negatives. Although, unfortunately, has been DNR'd to some degree. These are quite hefty discs. 2 discs again, so quite a lot of episodes on 1 disc, but again it's Japanese only, so the audio is not a problem. You know, you take what you get. These are pretty well priced as well, so I'm pretty happy. Although kind of weirdly, like I've collected them as and when they come out, and I don't mind that I've done that, but weird, like for the first time ever, Discotek are doing like a re-release of something they put out in parts, and they're putting it out in a complete collection. So you can now buy Discotek with a rounded slipcover. You can now buy City Hunter from Discotek with a rounded slipcover, the complete season 1, which is kind of weird. And it's like basically half the price. It's the same price as just one of these sets, which is, yeah, kind of a bummer in a way. Like, that's not what Discotek do, so I just bought them as is. You know, it was kind of weird as well, because when they first put these out, I kind of did think they were going to do a complete collection, because they've done that before with shows of a similar length. Like Kimaguri Orange Road is 48 episodes for a complete TV series, and this is only 51 episodes. It's only 3 episodes more. 49, 50, 51, yeah. It's only 3 episodes more. And yeah, they didn't do that, obviously, so whatever. I'm happy to have it. I don't mind spending the extra. It's kind of weird. I remember talking about on my collection video, on the shelf, when I was talking about all the City Hunter stuff, where I was like not sure how quickly, if ever, I would go back to rewatch City Hunter, like the original series, all 51 and episodes and all that. But I've actually had that inkling where I kind of do, like I really do love this show, and I really do love these characters a bit more than maybe I expected, because when I initially watched it all, I basically had watched season 1 like a couple of years before, and then I went through the entire franchise from City Hunter 2 to the end. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, speaking of City Hunter 2, we have City Hunter 2 set 1. This is first 38 episodes this time. I assume this must be on 3 discs as a result. Yes, it is. Thank God. I hadn't remembered. But yeah, pretty nice cover again. Very sleek looking Rio Cyber, and kind of, yeah, is it? Yeah, I think it's a tuxedo, although without a bow tie or anything. But yeah, an interesting other thing about these, which isn't really that important, but we'll talk about it anyway, since we are talking about collecting things, like physical Blu-ray releases, is that the spines are a bit of a mixed bag. Discotek have had a problem with spines recently, which has kind of been bugging me. But they're just like inconsistencies. It's kind of hard to hold these flat on my hand, but perfectly. But I mean, it's probably a little bit overemphasized here. But the logos do not line up at all. And this is becoming kind of an issue with Discotek releases. It's kind of bugging me. I don't really mind about the colour thing. Like, I'd rather have like the image fold over across the spine like that. I think it looks kind of neater in a way. Not neater as in, you know, more formal looking or whatever, and everything looking the same. But just, I kind of think it looks cool. It's neat. I don't mind that. But I'm not a huge fan of having the logos go up and down and here, there and everywhere. Again, it's not an issue, but I have a preference, and my preference would be that the logo's all lined up, but can't always get what we want, I guess. So anyway, there's no extras on these really to speak of. I assume they probably have clean opening and endings on one of the discs, although it's not actually advertised on the back, so... Oh no, it is on the first one. Okay, so that's weird. So maybe they don't have them for the second one, or maybe they didn't bother to do it. So that's another weird inconsistency, actually. Yeah, features, title 3, opening and ending is on both the first, or both the parts for City Hunter 1, but on City Hunter 2, nothing. I hope they have the clean opening and endings. I know they're on the Japanese Blu-ray, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be. Maybe they just didn't feel the need to advertise it on the back of the slipcover. I don't really mind if they don't, but I haven't double checked to see if they're on here. It'd be cool if they did. I quite like this image. A lot of fun. In the back here. And yeah, this one is obviously on 3 discs. Hopefully the discs aren't falling out. Yes, they are. I've had this problem with all of my Discotek 3 disc releases, where the discs fall out, the 3rd disc. So yeah, these big trays they use, I don't think they're using them anymore. They've had a lot of issues with them, but yeah, disc 1, disc 2, disc 3. It's this disc because the very edge of the disc, this door basically, if you will, like the disc sits under it, and occasionally it will pop out for whatever reason. We also have some inside artwork there of Rio Cyber. But yeah, other than the clean open endings, I don't think there are any special features. There also don't have the translation notes that the original ADV Films DVDs did. Occasionally, and this might have changed in the subtitle track, I guess, but things like, I mean, Rio's very famous line of mockery, which is basically him just feeling ecchi, if you will. It's just an expression he uses, is explained on the ADV DVDs before you start watching an episode, or at least for the first episode. But then there are like other things that come up, like just kind of basic like Japanese Yakuza terms or things like that. Like if there's something really specific that's going to come up before an episode, when you watch it on the ADV Films DVD, it will come up with a little thing saying, hey, this thing's going to come up, this is, you know, this specific phrase is going to come up, this is what it means. It doesn't really translate as such into English. I don't think they initially say that, but that's basically what, you know, that's why it's there. Is that this doesn't really translate into English. If you don't know what a Yakuza is, if you don't know what this specific thing is, this is what it is. By the way, enjoy the episode, and then you just start watching the episode. So yeah, I don't know if that stuff is on here. I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't know. I haven't watched these yet, so I don't know if that comes up as like a translation note in the subtitle track, which is how Sentai tend to do it. But yeah, I just thought I'd note that because that is one of the differences between these sets and the ADV ones. I can't believe we've been talking for 12 minutes about this already, but whatever. City Hunter 2, Set 2. So yeah, this completes the complete, obviously, Season 2 of City Hunter Series 2. So yeah, this is all 63 episodes now then. So yeah, 39 to 63. I believe this was only on 2 discs then. Yeah, 2 discs, 25 episodes. Yeah, weirdly, okay. Features, title, opening, free opening and ending. So maybe they just included all of the City Hunter 2 ones on this disc, or on this set, I hope. There's definitely more than one opening and ending for City Hunter 2, so I'm pretty darn sure. It's pretty long, it can't have had the same opening for 63 episodes. Yu Hakusho. Can you believe this? I saw Yu Hakusho earlier this year. It was pretty good. Didn't quite live up to my expectations, but whatever. It's a story for another time. But I can't believe that used the same opening for 104 episodes? Mad. Anyway, whatever. We're talking about City Hunter. So yeah, I actually really like this image. Again, really 80s, like Sunset Beach, kind of, or at night time, I guess. But yeah, really cool image. Rio Cyber looking cool. Pretty lady down below. I don't know if that's that police officer or if it's just a random girl. Might be random. Anyway, so yeah, just more City Hunter stuff. And this is currently the end of where we are in terms of like the traditional classic releases for City Hunter. City Hunter 3 and 91 came out, or City Hunter 4 if you will, came out in a box set. If I can get my brain to work properly. They came out in a box set in Japan last year. So I would expect to see City Hunter 3 and 91 come out sometime in the middle of next year, I hope. And then we've just got all the movies and OVAs, which I haven't actually double checked if there's a Blu-ray box of that coming out this year. I hope there is. Like, that's all we're missing are all the TV specials, movies, and OVAs. In terms of Blu-rays in Japan, that's all that's missing. So I really hope that, I assume all that stuff will just come out in one box set. As for my opinion of how Discotek should put that out, I'm kind of hoping they'll put City Hunter 3 and 91 out separately. I feel like they might not, but I know it's weird to want it separately, but I kind of do, because they are separate seasons, even though they're only 13 episodes each. I don't know, it's just part of the way I like to collect things. If I have separate season sets for parts of it, I'd rather have separate seasons for all of it, if you know what I mean. It's not a big deal, obviously I'll buy it regardless, but it'd be cool if they did it that way. As for the movies and OVAs, I can kind of take or leave like a complete box set, or maybe like an OVA set and a movie set or something. I expect they'll probably do a complete box set of all the movies and OVAs anyway, because you know, you can fit multiple OVAs and on one disc, so they probably won't want to put those out separately, and same for the movies and stuff. So anyway, one more thing for City Hunter is obviously the In fact, this is the first City Hunter thing they put out. City Hunter Shinjuku Private Eyes, which is the 2018 City Hunter film. They dubbed this one into English using a completely new cast. They didn't use the old ADV cast, obviously, from like the 90s. Thank God, because I wasn't a fan of that dub at all. I don't watch that dub. But I did watch the dub for this. I think I watched it in Japanese first and then watched the dub. Maybe the other way around, but regardless, I've seen it in both. This is the original release. There is supposedly some issues with the Japanese audio. If you buy this now, there should be a new disc in there that fixes that. Like, in terms of the Japanese audio just not being loud enough or something. But I have a very meager setup. I just have a normal TV with stereo speakers, basically. As far as I'm aware, I actually don't know. Like, there's some 5.1 stereo. I don't know. That's not a thing, is it? I don't know. Whatever. I just have a normal TV. No soundbar, no nothing. No surround sound speakers. So I didn't really notice any big deal. So I haven't gone out my way to repurchase this. But anyway, City Hunter Shinjuku Private Eyes. What did I think of this new modern City Hunter? I quite enjoyed it. It's basically just another adventure. It is in the same vein of the things I remember talking about in the collection video, whereas City Hunter did eventually get to a point with the last two TV specials / movies where I really felt they hit a formula that worked in the same vein of like Lupin TV specials, or I guess Detective Conan movies, where it's like, okay, you've kind of hit a thing now where you've focused more on the action, a little bit less on just the interactions between Rio Cyber and, you know, whoever he's working for in this particular special OVA episode, whatever. Because the thing was, the early specials for this were basically entirely they were just like normal episodes expanded out into like a 90-minute feature, and it just kind of felt really padded. Like, all the stuff that you would expect from an episode just took longer. So like, you had the Rio Cyber being mockery around the girl, and instead of it being like a 5-minute thing, it was like a 20-minute thing. It just went on and on and on and on. So yeah, but eventually they hit this format where it's like, okay, we can do more action with this character. It totally makes sense. This entire cast of characters work in the action space. And yeah, they hit a formula that worked. And they've returned to it with this. This is really good fun. I don't ultimately remember the story overly well, other than there's some fun stuff with Rio Cyber and Kaori in this. This doesn't take place after the manga. There is a definitive end to the manga. If you don't know, I wouldn't recommend looking it up or anything, but there is a definitive end. This doesn't take place after that or anything. This is just an original story that you can kind of fit in anywhere. Although, of course, it does take place in the modern day. The original series took place in the 80s. So it's kind of weird there, because they have like all the modern tech. They've got mobile phones or smartphones and things like that, and I think the internet, obviously, and you know, computers and all this sort of stuff that just kind of is not obviously in the original stuff that came out and was set in the mid to late 80s and early 90s. So yeah, it's kind of weird like that. And obviously all the characters haven't aged. It's just like, hey, it's not like they've time traveled or anything like that. It's just like, hey, what if City Hunter always took place in the modern day, regardless of when that is? So we've made this feature, and we're not even going to try and say this is 1980s, or like, you know, there's no reason other than the fact, hey, this is a modern film set for the modern day, so, you know, we made it, we set it in the modern day. If that makes any sense, I'm sure it does. Kind of. Anyway, other cool thing about this that I really liked is this has a cameo, a long overdue crossover cameo, which I kind of want to spoil in a way, because it was in all the trailers and everything. I feel like everyone knows. I'm going to say what it is, but if you don't know, maybe skip ahead like a minute if you don't want to know. But yeah, obviously Tsukasa Hojo's other creation that I love, Cat's Eye. It's always been implied that Cat's Eye, like the girls in Cat's Eye, all take place obviously in the same universe, because they're all set basically in the same location. So there's no reason for them not to. And they finally did that for this. Like, in the manga universe, I don't think Cat's Eye and City Hunter ever actually officially crossed over. But in this film, Cat's Eye have a cameo. The 3 girls are in it. I think it's just the 3 girls from memory serves. It doesn't have the guy. like the police chief. I'm pretty sure he isn't in it. But anyway, yeah, just the 3 girls. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's just cool to have those characters finally interact with the City Hunter characters. It seems way overdue. So, yeah, I like this movie. It was cool. You should buy it. And you should buy this whole franchise because it's amazing. I can't believe I talked about it for 20 minutes. I'm going to make this a City Hunter update. I'm going to make this City Hunter. This video is long enough as it is. I'm going to turn the camera off and start the next update for other stuff. So yeah, I intended to talk about 3 things, 3 different series in this video, but I'm only going to talk about City Hunter because I just went on and on and on, and I feel like you guys don't need to see any more of me talking about today. Anyway, whatever. I'm going to stop talking. So yeah, I'm Blaze. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.